Speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. Verse 9. For, remember for, gar, because, okay? Speak the word only, my servant shall be healed. Why? Because I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me, and I say to this man, go, and he goes, to another come, and he comes, to my servant, do this, and he does it. So what's he saying? Speak the word only. Why? Because I understand. I have command, I have authority, I speak with authority, I give a command, my soldiers do it. He said, if you just speak the word, it will happen. Why? Because I understand you have authority. You speak with authority. You're known for your authority. That's what he was known for. Now, this Roman centurion probably didn't know Isaiah 53, right? Because it would have been below a Roman to study or to know the scriptures in the Hebrew language of the people that they were oppressing, right? They wouldn't waste their time learning that language or learning any details of their religious activity, because that was not under their purview. That wasn't part of their command from Caesar. So there's no telling. Now, we don't know what he knew or what he didn't know, but there's no proof of that. So we can't say yay or nay either side, right? But now notice, he says, for I am. In other words, because I'm a man under authority. Now, why would he bring that up if he was not relating that authority to Jesus? You see? So now here's the thing. Key number one, authority, right? The Roman centurion didn't have faith in Jesus as the Son of God. Didn't have faith in Jesus as the Hebrew Messiah. Even if he thought, well, he could be the Hebrew Messiah. But guess what? He ain't Hebrew. The Roman was a Roman. So even if Jesus was the Messiah of the Jews, he wouldn't have been the Messiah to the Romans. Do you get that? So, but see, we can't put into this Roman centurion's mind something that we don't have any biblical proof that was there. So what we do know was there was the understanding of authority, because he brought that out. So we don't know that he was a good and pious man. He was following the Hebrew religion. He had gone to the synagogue and been circumcised or whatever. There's none of that. So we can't put that on him. So when people go, well, I just want great faith like the Roman centurion. Well, first off, too late. Because like I said, you have a relationship with God. You don't need great faith. Do you get that? Why? Because faith the size of a mustard seed will get anything done. Now think about that. You say, well, yeah, but I want great faith. Well, then great. Great faith to you is to take the most general scripture you can find and apply it to the most specific situation in your life. That's the way you have great faith. You take a general scripture. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Okay? I take that and say, okay, I should not only be healed, I should be immune of sickness and disease. I ought to be blessed, I ought to prosper. Right? It's kind of a general scripture. Do you know that statement was a statement that was normally used in letter writing back in the day? Whenever the Bible was being written, that was a normal introduction, okay? A normal greeting. You know how today we'll write a letter, say, dear sir, I hope you're doing well, or hope you're whatever, right? Well, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden that's a command from that person writing me a letter commanding me to be blessed and prosperous. But that was a normal thing in that time to put at the beginning of a letter. You say, whoa, so what? It was just an introduction? No, I'm not saying that. The fact that it was included in the Bible now means it's God's will. Do you get that? So God's will for you is that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. The problem is a lot of people want to prosper beyond what their soul prospers. And whenever you prosper beyond what your soul prospers, usually you get into trouble because you will use the blessing of God for wrong reasons. That's why it's important that your soul prosper. Because if your soul prospers, then as God prospers you, you'll know how to use it correctly and not let it overwhelm you. Remember, David said, Lord, don't make me so poor that I might be tempted to steal, and don't make me so rich that I might be tempted to forget you. Well, see, if you are tempted to forget God when you prosper, it's because you prospered financial or whatever, more than your soul prospered. So you have to look at what is said and why. And it's amazing because he goes on here and notice he says, verse 10, when Jesus heard it, he marveled, said to them that followed. Notice he's talking now to his disciples, not to the Roman centurion. Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. In other words, here's this uncircumcised, no covenant Roman, and he's got greater faith than you, people of God, that have a covenant with God. And see, that's why he marveled at his faith. And I say unto you that many shall come from the east and west and shall sit down with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the children of the kingdom shall be cast out. As that should, well, maybe not should, but it definitely, I've actually talked with people that makes them very nervous because they wonder, well, can I be cast out? Well, it's possible to be cast out of the kingdom right there. It says it's possible. Now what we got to do is figure out who is that possible for and who is it not possible for. But he says, they will be cast out into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And Jesus said unto the centurion, so he said that to them, then he turns back to the centurion, and Jesus said to the centurion, go your way. Go your way. Go back to your home or wherever. And as you have believed, so be it done unto thee. You notice he never spoke the word to the servant. In other words, he didn't even give the command in that sense. Literally what Jesus did. But now notice, see, you can become a stickler for certain things. But here Jesus, because what did the centurion say? Speak the word, my servant will be healed. So Jesus spoke the word, but not the way you would think how he normally did it. He didn't stand there and the centurion there and go, all right, so I command healing upon your servant, so be it. He didn't do that. He turned to the centurion and he said, as you have believed, be it done unto you. What is he saying? That's how a king grants a request. That's what Jesus was doing. He was granting the request of the Roman centurion. He granted his request. He said, what you believed, right? That if you came here and got me to speak the word, then your servant will be healed. You believed and you came to me and told me that. So as you believed, what was he believing? That when the day was over or whenever the situation ended, what was he believing? That his servant would be healed. So that's what he said. Go, and as you have believed, be it done unto you. In other words, guess what? I don't even have to say be healed. I can grant the request. God is so much bigger than we give him credit for. See, we get hung up on the how. Here's the thing I've noticed. The people that get the most hung up on how to do something are the ones with the least relationship with God. Because their faith is in how they do it, which means their faith is in their performance, not in God's goodness, his grace, his love. That's the difference. The more nitpicky you get. Now, is there a right way to do things? Yeah. So, and I really want to get into this. I'm not going to be able to go too far with it, especially today. But I do want us to go back over to Matthew 15. In Matthew 15, talking about the woman of Canaan, okay? And it starts about verse 22, we'll say. Behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast, cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. Now, again, what is the key of great faith, or key of faith, let's just call it that, that is demonstrated? Now remember, when I was with Dr. Summerall, he used to tell us, he would teach on faith, and he'd say faith is like a diamond, and it'll have 56 different facets. Now, he wasn't hung up on the number. It's just a matter of, faith has different facets. You can look at faith through different lenses, you might say. Well, the Roman centurion demonstrated faith through authority. He understood. I've said it often. If you're going to walk in great faith, you're going to have to understand authority. If you don't understand authority, you probably will not walk in great faith. There's a good chance you will not walk in it. Why? Because if you don't know that Jesus has the authority, and therefore he's working through you, and therefore you now have his authority to be in his stead and to do his works, which he said you would do. If you don't understand you have that authority, you'll never command, which is how Jesus healed. He always commanded, be healed, receive your healing. Those are commands, not requests. Do you get that? So that's how Jesus ministered, with authority. And if you're not going to do that, see, if you don't understand you have that authority to command healing for a person, then you're going to beg, cry, ask, whatever it is, or you're going to turn to the old sacred cow, Lord, if it be thy will, which is not a prayer of faith, it's a prayer of doubt. You put if in it, it's a prayer of doubt, unless the if has to be doing something with your commitment to God, okay? In other words, you commit to God to something, and you say, Lord, if it be thy will in this, I will go and do this, or, that kind of thing. But when it comes to things that are promised and are clear in Scripture, there is no if. Now, God used if. He said, if you do this, I will do that. So there's no question about what he would do. The only question is if you did what was required to get him to do what he said he would do if you did that. Is this making sense? Now, here he says in Matthew 15 And I want to go to verse 23. But he answered her not a word. So now she's coming up and saying all these things, and he didn't say a word. Now think about that. He didn't answer her a word, okay? And his disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away, for she cried.